We're off to the Western Cape where taxis are back on the road after a week-long strike marred by violence and intimidation. Earlier this morning, the Western Cape Premier, Alan Winde, the city of Cape Town and Santaco authorities held a media briefing. SABC News reporter Vanessa Poonah was there and joins us live from the provincial legislature in Cape Town. Vanessa, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. So what came out of that press briefing?
Alton, good morning to you. I think what came out of this press briefing is a unanimous sentiment by both Santaco as well as the City of Cape Town and provincial authorities that they are indeed very happy that this Friday morning commuters could once again use the services of minibus taxis in Cape Town and the wider province after what has been a devastating week with the taxi strike having been called last week. Now, some of the agreements that have brought about this resumption of services is that Santaco has committed to returning to the minibus task team that has been set up to deal with issues affecting the industry. Also, we understand from Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis that what will now happen is that there will be a 14-day period in which Santaco, if they do indeed have issues around, for example, taxis that have been impounded according to them illegally, to bring that documentation to the fore, the city will then have a look-see and with a view to having those impounded taxis released. But what has been very clear from the MEC for Mobility as well as other authorities here in the legislature behind me is that it will not refrain from acting within the National Land Transport Act. In other words, they will continue impounding vehicles for major offences being operating taxis without the necessary operating licences, issues around routes, making sure that taxi organisations follow the designated routes as per their licensing agreements. So these are the issues that the provincial authorities and city authorities will not deviate from, saying that those major offences will indeed still see the impoundment of taxes. What they have said is that for minor infringements, they are prepared to speak to Santaco about the release of those impounded taxis and also then refraining from impoundment on the basis of what they term minor offences. Now, of course, a short while ago, we had that hour-long media briefing. We've also asked Santaco about one of the conditions. For example, the Premier, Alan Winde, made it very clear that one of the conditions for going into this agreement, which now sees taxis back on the road, is that there will be an immediate cessation of violence. You will know, Aldrin, that we have seen violent incidents taking place across the province, specifically in the metropole and specifically in the poorer areas of Cape Town over the past week. They've agreed to that. We've also asked Santaco whether they will agree to another condition, and that condition is that there will be a 36-hour notice period before embarking on strike action. I mean, what we've seen last Thursday is that in the middle of the day, while people were at work, while children were at school, they made the call for an immediate end, an immediate start to the strike, meaning that we've seen the visuals, thousands of people having to scramble to get into buses, people having to take on as much as a 10-kilometre walk along national highways to get back home from work. Santaco then telling us earlier on that indeed was an unfortunate decision by themselves, but that was prompted by the events that happened on the station deck earlier on that day, of course, where we saw a standoff between the authorities and taxi operators with regards to fines and impoundments. Of course, for now, it seems that the situation has returned to relative calm. In Cape Town, I know my colleague, reporter Tule Joka, has also been out this morning, out and about, just keeping the nation informed in terms of what has been happening on the roads along Cape Town and also at the various taxi stations. So for now, Santaco as well as the provincial and local authorities have come to an agreement that come Monday they will start with that 14-day process in which they will iron out the issues and, of course, return to that minibus task team. Because at the end of the day, according to authorities, what they have now said is that there is no way or at this point or ever will there be a way way that the taxi industry can be done away with. What indeed they want to see is a workable solution where the minibus taxi industry can form part of the wider integrated public transport system here in the Western Cape. So after a week of I can call it turmoil, Aldrin, it would appear as, for now at least, that calm has returned. Santaco, if I can just bring this in, earlier mentioned that they will be approaching the courts for an urgent interdict to stop the city of Cape Town from impounding its vehicles. They've now said that process has been put on hold while these talks continue, and they will update as and when the need may arise in future for them to do so.